Dan Orlovsky from ESPN. Dan, first question, what did you think of how Bill Belichick handled the quarterback situation Monday night?
Yeah, it was the wrong way to handle it for me. Number one, I hate when coaches play mind games with quarterbacks. I mean, these are adults. And this is all due respect to Coach Belichick, but these are adults. We don't have to play the mind games. So it's impossible for Coach, and again, respectfully, for Coach Belichick to think that anybody who's ever been around football or fans don't watch and sit there and go, oh, he got benched. It's impossible. So, there's no way that you can sit there and go, it wasn't because of that. And candidly, I wish he did come out at the end of the game and be like, yeah, I benched him. I benched him because, he threw that interception and that's his 6th of the season and he can't hurt the football team, especially when we're down 10-0. So I told both quarterbacks they were going to play. And just after that interception, it was the right move for me. And Mac's got to realize he can't give the ball to the other team. Like, I would have preferred to hear that because that feels more real. And then I know today he said, well, we'll see or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And candidly, like Mac, and I know there's video floating around the internet of maybe the wire from the sky cam affected the ball or whatnot. Or if Coach Belichick came out and said, you know what, because this stood out to me, Mac ran like 3 times pretty quickly in that game. And maybe if he just sat there and in conversation with the coaches said, why is he moving the pocket so fast? Maybe he's not confident. Maybe he doesn't feel like he can hang in there and handle the bodies around his body. Let's just get him out of the game right now. But it was odd the way it went down.
So Dan, how does it benefit Bill to just keep this a secret and play these games? How does he benefit from this?
I don't know. And you guys know him way better than me, but I don't ever take Coach Belichick in press conferences as a liar. But I know he just doesn't divulge any and all information. He literally says as nothing as possible. So I don't know what the benefit of who the quarterback is going to be or not knowing that has for his team, has for opponent, has for anything. So I don't like it because I don't like playing the mind games with quarterbacks. It's either where I'm going with Mac Jones or I'm going with Bailey Zappi or Mac's not healthy enough. I don't know what the benefit is.
Dan, in your experience as an NFL quarterback, what is a quick hook, whether it's because of performance in the moment or a plan that the coaching staff had before the game started? What is a quick hook after an interception like we saw on Monday Night Football? What does that do to a quarterback?
Yeah, it's mentally devastating. So quarterback's the hardest position in all sports to play, and the number one thing that you need is the mindset, the confidence, I feel like I'm the baddest mother effer when I walk on the field because you're taught from an early age. In my son's football game this past weekend, throws an interception, and his body language is decimated. And I go down and take a knee in front of him. And I look at me, dude. Like, you go up to your teammates and you tell them it's your fault, and then you tell them we're going to go to the next play, and they got to believe it. And you got to tell them we're going to be fine, guys. And because everyone wants to watch you and will take their cues from you. And if you think that you got no shot and your body language, so they are going to as well. And for a quarterback, like when and I watched him, I think it was to Jonnu Smith when he said, I'm out. That's deflating. And I always say this, I don't care, unless you've been in that world, it's really hard to understand it. Quarterbacks are like hippos. Like, they're crazy territorial, crazy. And one of the things, again, that you get taught really early on and always in your quarterback life is that is your huddle. You have to take ownership of that huddle. Those are your guys. They will go wherever you take them. And when you have the quarterback throw an interception, all of a sudden he's on the sideline, everyone's sitting there going, well, who's our leader then? Like, who's the guy? Who's the guy that's going to dig us out of this 10-0 hole? And for Mac, it makes Mac doubt himself. It makes Mac play hesitant football. It makes Mac be scared to put the ball in harm's way and take shots down the field to be an aggressive player. It's going to have an impact, and I promise you it will.
Talking to Dan Orlovsky, ESPN, and Dan, as the day went on, there was leaks out there that both quarterbacks were probably going to play in this game. Yet when the game was over, many offensive players had no clue, even said it to the media publicly, that Bailey was going to get in the game, that both quarterbacks were going to play. Like, how does that work? How can his teammates not know what the plan is for the quarterback?
Yeah. So, I mean, the truth of this is this, guys. If this wasn't Coach Belichick, we would be killing any other coach.
Thank you.
You know, that's the truth. But because of this past, and he's earned it, we try to figure out, you know, like what the positive of this might be. But if this was Nick Sirianni or whoever else would be sitting there blasting them for how this has been handled, I don't know the benefit of not telling, you know, I've been in preseason games where people know when they're going to play. So I can't sit here and tell you what the benefit is of what quarterback is or isn't. Because here's the thing, and, you know, you guys have all heard this saying, like, coaches will say this, I'll treat everybody fairly but not equally. And are we treating Mac fairly? Are we treating Bailey Zappi fairly? You know, hey, Bailey, are you only going in because Mac messed up? Or are you going in because we think you're good? Or we think you're better? And you know, like, is another player going to get yanked out of the game because he maybe makes a mistake? You know, and so if this was any other coach, we'd be crushing him. But because it's Coach Belichick, and honestly, respectfully, he's earned the right for us not to. But it's not great.
Okay, so we're talking to Dan Orlovsky on the Harbor One Hotline, and Dan. So two things. First of all, hippos, very territorial, very mean and nasty.
Very mean.
Very mean. Yeah. So you mentioned body language. So Mac goes in, third series, throws a terrible interception, just stupid.
Yep.
And it's like, and you could see his, like, the life of his just come out of his body. Satchel bone follows. He's been making those mistakes like a lot this year, like that similar mistake where you go, why are you throwing that? And I know that he knows better. So how do you fix that?
Yeah, I think it's very candid conversations, you know, and trying to figure out why you're doing it. You know, Christian, one of the things that I loved about him coming out was I said this about him. He knows who he is and he knows who he isn't. And I said this on NFL Live yesterday. As much as I love Mac, I've come on your guys' show and had Mac's back forever, and I still do. Dude, Mac, you can't do that. You're playing from a head coach or for a head coach that literally built the greatest 20-year stretch in North American sports history on all the cliches of football. Play smart, be good in situations, don't turn the football over, don't take negative plays. So you can't, you know, Bill Belichick didn't win all those Super Bowls because he had Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson had all these incredible plays. He just doesn't want you to do the back-breaking dumb stuff. And I said there's a difference between a turnover and a takeaway. That's a turnover where you just literally gave it to the other team.
Yeah, but Dan, I think my question is more towards his mental, like, what is it about him that is so different from last year? Is it pressure? Is it attitude?
Yeah,
is it coaching?
Yeah,
is it the
that's a great
burden
question.
of that year two jump that he was supposed to do that he isn't?
Yeah, so it's very similar to a conversation that I had with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. You have to be mature enough to curb your own competitiveness. You know, like Mac is such a competitive kid and has such confidence that he like believes there's no play he can't make, right? Or I can go make it play. I'll go make it happen. I can go make this offense play better. And, you know, Josh Allen had to learn that in his own style of play. I'm not saying that they're the same type of player, but Josh Allen had to learn that, and especially when it came to the transition from college to the NFL is, you know, curb the competitiveness and when is it needed? When do I not need it? When is it? When can I get away with it and when can I can't? In situational football and all those things. And Brandon Beane even said, like, dude, I had to make sure that I got people around him so he didn't feel like he had to go play like Superman. And I think it's a little bit like that with Mac. Like he's got to learn to just curb those competitive moments because you know he's smart enough. And he feels sometimes like he's got to go play Superman ball or he's got to go make this play. And while you love that mindset, if you don't control it, it could become a downfall. And I think that's part of some of the interceptions.
Okay.
We're talking to Dan Orlovsky of ESPN. So, Dan, if you're writing a prescription for the coaching staff to try to get Mac, his swagger, his ego, whatever you said previously was devastated by what has happened in Monday Night Football and the weeks prior to that, where do you start? Where do you start repairing it?
Yeah. I mean, there has to be a very clear conversation with them. Mac, you're the starting quarterback. We took you in the first round. You led us to the playoffs. We think you have the chance to be our quarterback for the future. Okay? You also have to understand that when the ball is in your hands, everyone's job is on the line. Everyone's job, not just yours. Everybody's. So it's got to be the most important thing in the world to you. We don't want you looking over your shoulders. We don't want you to doubt yourself. We want you to go be the kid that we believe that you're going to be, okay, and the kid that led us to the playoffs. All right, so let's sit down and let's talk about how Mac Jones plays best. What are the things that Mac Jones likes to do the best offensively? Great, all that stuff, Mac, after we sit down and talk about it, now is that the best thing for our football team? Now, maybe Mac, I know you love this stuff, but it doesn't help our left tackle. So you got to understand that while you love it, that's not the best thing for our offense. All right, so what's the best thing to get Jacoby Myers to play the best way, Max? And so understanding, getting him to understand that, and maybe this has already happened, but like the stuff that's best for Mac has to be the stuff that's best for the New England Patriots as well. Certainly their offense. Because I'll tell you guys this, something that I didn't understand in the game the other night. Mac Jones had one throw from under center, one snap from under center in the first quarter. He had one play action pass. I've come on your guys' show for the past 3 weeks and raved about how much they put Bailey Zappi in under center and ran play action. He got to do it once.
Why do you think? Why is that? I mean, because we were saying the same thing. Like the numbers are.
They ran different offenses. Oh. Two quarterbacks ran different offenses. Because what's best for the Patriots is the stuff that they do with Bailey Zappi. That's what's best for the Patriots.
So, Dan, one thing Bill could squash all this is if he just came out and announced that, Mac Jones is the starter, right? He would end it all. Well, today he doesn't. He says, we'll see how today goes. Is there a chance, the only thing we can come up with is there a chance that Bill Belichick really isn't sure who gives him the best chance to win between these two guys?
I think there's that chance, I think there's that chance because, again, Mac's thrown 6 interceptions this year, and this guy does not like those core values, those things that are non-negotiables. And so I'm sure that there's that chance. And Max kind of opened the door to that, so to speak.
But you still think it's Mac? You still think it's Mac?
Oh, God, yes. Unequivocally, guys, Jacoby Myers was butt naked open. I would hope we can throw that pass. I'm not trying to – I've said this. Both things could be true. Mac Jones is by far a better player in their future, and Bailey Zappi's good. He belongs in the NFL. Both of those things could be true, but I don't think it's close, no.
All right, Dan, listen, man, we really appreciate it. Always look forward to it Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Thanks a lot. Dan Orlovsky, ESPN.
Thanks, guys.
All right, man. Thanks.